and welcome to part 2 of my BookTubeAthon reading vlogs. If you haven't seen part 1, which includes days 1 through 3, I will leave a link to it up in the card in the corner. I would highly recommend watching that one before you watch this one so that everything makes sense, but if you've already seen it, then welcome back. So it is now day 4 of BookTubeAthon, and so far I've completed 2 out of the 7 books, and I think 3 out of 7 challenges. Already after 7 o'clock at night. I didn't vlog at all today because this afternoon I went to see Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. In case you're curious, I thought it was pretty good, but there were some sad parts that I wasn't very happy about, and I don't think I liked it quite as much as the first Jurassic World movie. But besides that, as far as my reading goes, this morning I started Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll. This is actually a reread for me, but this is going to work for the challenge of reading a book with green on the cover. I'm not sure exactly how many pages into this I am. I want to say like 30 maybe. This book includes Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass, so the page count just carries on into the second book, so I don't know exactly what it is. But I only have that much left until I finish it, so we'll see how much progress I get on it tonight. I'm sorry this first day of the vlog is going to be pretty boring, but I've just been really busy all day, and tonight I have to go pick up my mom from my grandpa's house, and then I have to do the dishes. So who knows how much reading I'm really gonna get done tonight. But that is all for right now. I will check in with you guys probably tomorrow. Well, it's Bad Vlogger back again. I don't even know what day it is. Day 5 of BookTubeAthon, and it's after 7 o'clock at night, and I haven't filmed at all today. Basically, let me give you the rundown of my day. It's been a rough day if you couldn't tell. I literally have the hairstyle of your local librarian who is having a quarter life crisis, and it isn't even the quarter of her life yet. So this morning I finished Through the Looking Glass. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It was my second time reading it. The first time was years and years and years ago. Then my mom had a doctor's appointment that was supposedly going to take like 3 to 4 hours. So I brought Space Opera with me. This is a book that I was sent for review like 2 months ago, honestly. And I started reading this in the waiting room, and I read about 20 pages of it, and I have never disliked 20 pages of a book so bad. Like, the writing style of this book was written in a way where they're like nearly run-on sentences. Like, the sentences are so long that you just lose interest in one sentence halfway through because that's how long they are. And the first 20 pages honestly felt more like an epilogue than anything. Like, there was no dialogue for the first 20 pages. There wasn't anything particularly interesting happening. And so I was like, well, maybe this is going to be over soon, so I flipped ahead a little bit, and I was reading the writing of like a random chapter, and the writing, I can't get on with it. So I decided to put this book down, and I was like, well, crap, I'm at a 4-hour doctor's appointment with nothing to read. So I decided to download an ebook on my Overdrive app. I just downloaded the first one that I recognized that I hadn't read before. That was also slightly short so that I could try and catch up with this. So I downloaded 5 to 1. I don't know if you can see the cover. I would like zoom in on it, but then I'd have to switch back and forth through where my bookmark is. But basically, 5 to 1 is a book that I've only heard a couple of times mentioned on BookTube. Basically, 5 to 1 is a book that follows this kind of Indian culture in the future where for every 5 boys there's only 1 girl. So when girls turn like 17 or something, 5 guys have to like compete in these different tests to try and win her hand in marriage. So far I'm on page 224 of 358, and this is in like ebook on an iPhone pages, so it's a lot shorter in physical pages. And so far I am enjoying it. It's written in a way where it's from two perspectives. We're following the girl's perspective and then the perspective of one of the guys who is competing, and the girl's perspective is told in verse, but it's told in a really weird way where, like, if one of the words is like, I don't know, like if the word is large or big or something, the font is bigger, or if the word is down, it's spelled out like D, next line O, next line W. And I guess, I don't know if it's like when it transferred over into an ebook form, especially like on the format of my iPhone, it's just like messed up the font, so the words are like halfway across the page and then some of them are over here, and it's just very confusing. And there's not a whole lot of world building, so I'm still trying to completely understand the society and stuff that's going on, but so far I am enjoying it a lot more than that other book that we just talked about. But I'm actually going to take a break from this book for a minute, and I'm going to try and complete the challenge of reading a book and watching the adaptation. So this by far has been the hardest challenge for me to come up with a book for, because I have probably less than 5 books, unread books on my shelf that have adaptations, and I don't want to read any of them. Well, that's not true. Okay, I want to read the books, but I have no interest in watching the films. So I thought to myself, what movies am I always in the mood to watch? And of course, that is Disney. So I decided I'm going to help myself out a little bit because I'm pretty behind in reading, and I should have my 5th book done today, and I'm only going to have maybe my 4th book done if I can finish this 5-to-1 book before the end of the night. So I thought I would try and catch up by reading the original tale of The Little Mermaid, which I've never read before, and watching the film, which I haven't seen in a very long time, so I feel I'm due a rewatch. So that is what I'm going to do right now, so let's jump into it. It is now day 6 of BookTubeAthon, and it's 7 o'clock at night. I'm not even going to apologize for not filming today, because what did I say I was? Your local librarian who's having a midlife crisis? Yeah, well, she almost had a mental breakdown earlier today, so you should be thanking me for not filming, because that would have just been horrifying. But let me catch you up on what I have read so far. So last night, as you saw, I read The Little Mermaid, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars. It was cute and sweet and a little bit terrifying, but I liked it. And then at like 1 o'clock in the morning, I finished 5 to 1, which I gave 3 stars. I really liked the story, but I felt like there should have been more character development and world building. Overall, I just felt like it should have been longer because it really was a short story. It was probably less than 200 pages because like one half of the perspective is in verse, so it's just really short. And I pretty much didn't read at all for the rest of today until about an hour ago when I picked up Trail of Lightning. This is a book that I was sent for review. I'm about 50 pages into it and it's less than 300 pages, so I should get through this pretty quickly, and I'm also really enjoying what I've read so far, so that should also help me to read faster. But from what I can get from the first 50 pages, because we all know I'm not going to read the synopsis again, I tend to just read the synopsis when I first acquire the book, or like when I first hear about it, and I just read it on Goodreads, and then I add it to be read, and then I will forget, and I go into most of my books blind. So from what I can get from the first 50 pages, this is like an post-apocalyptic novel which has some kind of fantasy elements to it. There are like people who are immortal or have special abilities, and there's witchcraft that goes on in this book. So we're following a girl called Maggie, and she is a monster hunter. So I'm assuming when the apocalypse happened, there are these different monsters that are now running around and eating people, and she hunts them, and she seems to be pretty famous in what she does. So she comes across this monster that she's never seen before, so she kills it and takes its head to this medicine man who is very educated in these monsters, and he has never seen this new monster before, and he thinks that they are being created using witchcraft by some witch somewhere. So she is now going to try and find this witch person and stop them from creating this new species of monster, and she is doing this with the grandson of the guy I just talked about. And yeah, they haven't even left on their journey yet, so it's very possible that that whole synopsis I just gave you could be completely wrong for what the rest of the book is about. But as I said, I'm only 50 pages into it, but I am really enjoying it. I also think this is an adult novel because it's pretty gory and it has quite a lot of strong language in it. Yeah, this is my reading plan for tonight. I might also watch the Little Mermaid film tonight because I do still have to watch the adaptation of The Little Mermaid in order to fully complete that challenge. So just kind of tell you exactly everything I have to do before midnight tomorrow when the readathon ends. I have to finish 2 whole books in order to complete the challenge of reading 7 books. I have to watch The Little Mermaid in order to complete the second half of the movie book adaptation thing, and then I also have to complete the challenge of reading a book while wearing the same hat the entire time, which I'm planning to do tomorrow. So yeah, that's a lot of stuff I gotta do in a little over 24 hours. Fingers crossed I will complete all of it. But yeah, that is all for now. I will probably update you guys tomorrow. So it is now the final day of BookTubeAthon. Can you guys believe it's been an entire week? I feel like it's flown by so fast, but it is the final day, and less than 5 minutes ago, I finished reading Trail of Lightning. I really enjoyed this book, surprisingly. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, but it's honestly probably closer to 4.5. I feel like this book is not something that I would normally pick up. I definitely kind of judged it by its cover. This is like what I would call a video game cover, which as much as I enjoy video games, anyone that is marketed kind of like this, where it's like looks like the apocalypse kind of thing. It does not interest me, so neither does it in book form, as well as the plot wasn't something that I would generally pick up, but I ended up really enjoying this book. It was super action-packed. I just wanted to keep reading and find out what was going to happen next, and I loved all of the characters. Overall, this was just a really good book. So at the beginning of this clip, I forgot to mention that it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon now, so all I have to do before midnight tonight is read one more book and watch The Little Mermaid, and the only challenge that I have to complete is to read the book while wearing the same hat the entire time. So I'm having a little bit of a dilemma because the book that I was planning to read, because I kind of had a loose TBR planned out, it was like the average size book. It's like 350 pages or so, but it's already 1 in the clock in the afternoon. I just don't know if I'll be able to read the entirety of it before the end of the day and be able to watch The Little Mermaid. So I've had to make a slight change that I'm still not sure if I'm completely on board with. So I went over to my very small collection of short books that I own, all of which I've already read. Like, I don't have any unread short books on my shelf, which is just a big dilemma for me. But the book that I picked out to read, because I'm really in the mood to read horror or thriller or something like that, for like the past few months, I've really been in the mood for autumn and Halloween and everything like that. Went to the stores yesterday and they had Halloween candy at the grocery store. That made me very happy. But so I looked at my small book collection, and the one that stood out to me the most is one that I read in 2016, and that is House at the End of the Street by Lily Blake. This is just a short little thriller horror book. I've seen the movie. As I said, I already read this book back in 2016. So I just don't know. I'm not really in the mood to reread this, but I just need something to read in order to finish this last challenge. We're wearing a hat. Before I do this challenge, I do have to go out for a little bit, so while I'm out, I'm just going to be trying to think of other books that I could possibly read or reread. I don't really know. I'll have to look closer at my shelves, but for right now, this is the book that I'm leaning towards the most. And the hat that I am planning to wear for this challenge, I'm going to have to take my hair out of my ponytail. I don't wear hats often, so this is a rare occasion, let me tell you. Oh gosh, my hair. But the hat I'm going to wear is this one, which says Introvert. Oh, and my battery is dying. This is great. This is just a baseball cap that I got when I went to see Dan and Phil on tour. So yeah, this is what I'm going to wear. I'm also wearing their tour merch. I'm just like repping everything right now. Also, I don't know how to wear hats. I don't know how to make them look okay, and they never fit my head right. So yeah, that's all for now. I will maybe update you guys when I get back from being out if I manage to change books. If I don't, then I'll probably just move on with my day. So yeah, that's all for now. I will update you guys later. So you guys, BookTubeAthon is officially over for me. Can you believe it? Because I can't. I mean, technically there are still a few hours left until it officially ends, but I'm pretty pooped from reading at this point, so I don't plan on doing anything else for the rest of the night. But as you guys saw, I finished my House at the End of the Street book, which completed the challenge of reading a book while wearing the same hat the whole time, and I also watched The Little Mermaid, so I have officially completed all 7 challenges and all 7 books. Considering this is my first time participating in BookTubeAthon, I'd say that that went very well. Now I thought I would just give you a quick wrap up of all the books that I read and what challenges they completed. So I first started off by reading The Wicked Deep, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars, and this completed the challenges of letting a coin toss decide your first read and also reading a book with a beautiful spine. Then I read Listen to Your Heart by Casey West, which I also gave 4 stars, and this completed the challenge of reading a book about something you want to do. Then I read Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll, which I gave 5 out of 5 stars, and this was actually a reread for me, and this completed the challenge of reading a book with green on the cover. Then I read The Original Tale of the Little Mermaid by Hans Christian Andersen, and I watched the Little Mermaid film, which completed the challenge of reading a book and watching its adaptation. Then I read 5 to 1, which I gave 3 out of 5 stars, and this worked towards the challenge of reading the 7 books. Then I read Trail of Lightning, which I gave 4 out of 5 stars, and this also completed the challenge of reading the 7 books. And then finally, I read House at the End of the Street by Lily Blake, which I gave 3 stars upon my reread, and this completed the challenge of reading a book while wearing the same hat, which I did with my Interactive Introverts hat. So all of these books added together, plus the 2 that I don't have copies of right now, worked towards the challenge of reading 7 books, which I ended up completing all 7 books, all 7 challenges. I'm very, very happy. And overall, I read a total of 1,460 pages, so I'm pretty happy with that in a week. So yeah, that is all for this video, I guess. I cannot believe BookTubeAthon is over. Leave me a comment down below and let me know if you participated in BookTubeAthon and what your favorite book was that you read this week. And yeah, that is all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!